Welcome to the Severe Media Network. If you enjoy the content for any reason, click the button below and subscribe. This video will be about the original sin of Adam and Eve and how it relates to black people. In the book of Genesis, the generations of Adam and Eve tells us a story about a man and a woman that was misled by a snake to eat from the tree of good and evil, quote unquote. It is a tree that God forbid them to eat from, and because they did, they will surely die, quote unquote. In reading the story of Adam and Eve, one must interpret it in a way that applies to real life situations, as the story may very well be symbolic to our life choices and not meant to be taken literally. In my interpretation, I imagine Adam and Eve as a black man and a black woman living in Africa, the paradise on earth, quote unquote. I imagine the snake being the alien white man or the Anglo-Saxon. I believe that the poisonous tree of good and evil was not necessarily an actual tree, but instead a culture, a manner of living, the fruit of our ways. I believe that the black man and the black woman in Africa ate from the tree of the white man and woman's ways and begun to adopt European values and behavior. The Anglo-Saxon ways and actions were not in harmony with the African culture. In many ways, it was deceptive, violent, and morally challenging, and this type of lifestyle would surely lead to an early death. In the Bible, Adam and Eve were kicked out of the Garden of Eden, and similarly, the native African that adopted the customs of the European were kicked out of the paradise on earth, quote unquote. To this day, in many countries on the continent of Africa, the natives are fighting to regain control of their native land from European rule and dominance. Millions upon millions of native Africans were killed, displaced, and sent to a foreign land to become slaves, servants, and victims of this foreign man and foreign culture. The native that remained on the continent had no control of their homelands, as the foreign culture that they accepted and adopted was founded on greed and betrayal. They lost control of their people because trust was compromised. They sacrificed their moral values for the materialistic obsessions of the European. Prior to the European arrival on the continent, the natives were not battling over material things like elephant tusks, diamonds, and gold, or the minerals of the earth. After the arrival of the European, the natives were divided and ultimately overwhelmed that battle by the firepower of the Anglo-Saxon who discovered guns. Therefore, the Anglo-Saxon dominated and laid claim to the wealth of the land, dominated and controlled the politics and the population. This is a result of eating the fruits, ways, and customs of a foreigner. Notice how in the story of Adam and Eve, the snake, symbolic to a deceitful man, approached the woman, Eve. Why would the snake approach Eve? Because women are impressionable. A woman's curiosity can overpower her common sense or reasoning, especially if she is impressed by what she can see, hear, or read. The female influence on a man is nearly infallible. Women are manipulated since birth, and their use of the art of suggestion on their men is very powerful. So if the foreigner, albeit a deceptive and interesting man, plants a seed of thought into a woman, and she accepts that seed, it becomes very dangerous. Why? Because the woman is the original teacher of the child. She can pass on the seed, the culture, the belief, or the way of life to the innocent. If it is the belief or customs of the deceitful but interested man, that child will grow to be deceitful as well. It is a known fact that if you control the woman, that you control the nation. If you control the thoughts and beliefs of the woman, those beliefs will be practiced in the home. This is why most businesses and products are directly marketed towards the female consumer. Most sharp business owners know that if you pique the interest or the curiosity of the female, she will buy into your product and introduce it into her home, promote it to her friends, and expose it to her family. Smart businessmen and women say, target the women. Whatever the woman wants, the man will want, quote unquote. The man may not want the particular product for himself. He simply wants the woman to be happy. He wants her to have what she desires. When it relates to beliefs, customs, and behavior, it influences the mores and practices of an entire nation or people. In America, the African American child first teacher is the mother. If the mother is teaching the customs of contemporary social rules or values, whether right or wrong, the child follows. What are the teachings of the African male child in America? Foreign teachings of the Anglo-Saxon way of life. What is the condition of the African male today? Precarious. Controlled by an Anglo-Saxon dominance and detrimental to the perseverance of life. The dominant culture in America is the Anglo-Saxon culture, so the black male child will be taught the Anglo-Saxon culture despite the child's biological mother, race, or ethnicity. She can be Anglo-Saxon herself, Latino, Asian, or African American. These customs are unnatural for the African male and contrast to his natural identity. This is why, although he has not been taught otherwise, he rejects the culture and implements a subculture, even to the point of self-destruction. The mother figure is usually adamant and uncompromising in regards to teaching the American culture and values, despite the African father figure. If the African father figure disagrees with the American culture, the mother normally will teach and implement the culture anyway. Her motivation is based on a practical belief system that she has internalized. Therefore, the child is brainwashed, quote unquote, or indoctrinated from a figure that he loves and trusts the most, his mother. This is symbolic of the woman Eve being influenced by the devil to eat from the tree, the culture that destroys the life and identity of her very own flesh and blood. The American culture is not designed for the African male. He can learn to survive it, but it does not reflect his true identity. His integration into the culture is at the cost of a lifetime of imitating another man's image and not knowing, embracing, and or developing an image or identity of his own. This is what the mothers to the African male do not accept, embrace, understand, or take seriously. Because of their refusal to accept this truth, they ultimately fail their male child. He becomes an inside joke, the carbon copy of the Anglo-Saxon, and never reaches the power of the original, no matter his profession. As an alternative, he becomes the rebel, otherwise known as a criminal. Thank you for watching. To contact me, send me an email to severemedianyc@gmail.com.